Hey there. My name is Jonathan. I'm with the Utah Moto Trials Association. For those who don't know me, for those who do know me, I'm referred as JT in the club. I've been riding trials for about 3 years, and I just wanted to share some learnings that I have had over those past 3 years that I wish I would have known before I got to this point. I came from an enduro desert racing background and had a lot of techniques that worked in that type of environment, but does not work in the trials type of environment. So I had to break a lot of bad habits, and it's taken me quite a while to do that. So I thought I'd make a little video to help those who are either just starting out or still in the beginning phases of learning of some things that I had to struggle with, and I wish I would have known a lot sooner when I started, because it would probably put me on the path to being even better than I am right now. I am by no means an expert or anything like that. I'm still learning a lot, and I have a lot to learn. But I wish I would have known some of these things a lot sooner than I did. You hear certain things from other people; they'll tell you what to do, but they don't tell you why you need to do it. And I'm going to talk about a little bit about not only why you want to do things, but the reasoning behind it. At least the reasoning I see behind it that I've learned over the past 3 years. So I hope you find this helpful. By all means, anybody that is a higher skill level than myself, I would love for them to chime in and maybe correct me where I'm wrong, because as I said, I'm still learning, but I have come to I've gotten rid of a lot of bad habits. So what I'm going to be talking about are a few things. One, body position. I've just recently learned, some things about how I can correct my body position, and I'll go over that. The lever positions, why they always talk about you want your levers up high. I'll go into the reason why you want your levers high and show you that. Um, uh, where your fingers should be on the clutch. I've watched a lot of tape of the pros, and I'll show you where I started out and where I'm at now. Clutch adjustment. I've just started this year. I just found a way to do that properly for myself. Once again, all these things are for myself. Hopefully, they'll help you. What else? I'm just shooting off the top of my head. Yeah. So I will go over those things in the video, and yeah, please leave me in comments and any helpful advice. So I just wanted to kind of help those who are just starting, and those who are still in the beginning of the learning phase. So hope this helps. So you hear people talk about how they are saying you want the levers up, up. You don't want them down in the enduro position, and they're like, you want them up, but they never tell you why they're supposed to be up. And I learned this. I think I learned this not this year, but last year. So about a year, maybe a year into my, a little over a year into my trials journey. The reason you want them up is for when you are going downhill. Not only do you want to be able to get to them, so this applies to the brake and the clutch at the same time. The brake is going to be, well, I guess both of them are going to be important for both attributes, mainly for downhill. When you're going downhill, obviously you're going to be back on the bike. So you are going to have going downhill, you want, when you have pressure on your hands, like when you come to a stop, you want your wrist straight. That pressure, see how my arm here is straight in line with the bar. And same with the wrist there. You can see that my wrist is straight. And I can get to the brake nice and easy. If it was further down, I'd have to rotate my wrist to get to it. And with that, when I apply pressure, the pressure is not going straight into my wrist. It's now angled, and that'll cause my wrist to fold over and also put more pressure on my thumb to hold it versus the pressure being directed straight into my wrist bone. So when you're going downhill, and you're leaning way back on the bike, you're going to have your arms stretched out and be back. And not only do you want to get to the levers, when you come to a sudden stop, you want that pressure being straight in line with your wrist here. You don't want your wrist angled, because if your wrist is angled, it is going to be less strong than if it is straight. So when you're going downhill, you're applying your front brake. Same with your clutch. You have your clutch pulled in, but your wrists are nice and straight and can handle a lot of pressure. And you can try this out, just on your bike without any grabbing the levers. Where is the most strength when you push on it? If your wrist is angled up like this because you have to get to the levers, try pushing on it. All of a sudden, you're going to not be able to push as much as if your wrist is nice and straight. And so that's why you want your levers further up, not only so you can reach them, but also that you have that strength in your wrist when you need it. Also, when you're going up for the clutch, when you're going up an obstacle and you're throwing the bike out in front of you, obviously you're going to be laid way back, and you want to be able to get to the clutch. So that's another reason. But it's not only just the reason of getting to the clutch when you're throwing the bike out away from you, going up an obstacle, but it's also when you're going downhill, you want your wrists being nice and straight to be able to absorb and take that impact when the bike stops, not only just reaching the lever, but also being able to have your wrist in a position to where it can take that impact. When I first started riding, my levers were a little further down, and I kept on having my hands slip. I hurt my thumb a couple times and stuff like that, and that's when I realized, especially once I got to the higher classes, like, oh, that's why they want these levers up more level to keep your wrists straight for those impacts. So hopefully that helps you out. Okay, so something else that when I first started, my theory now, once again, I'm just learning. I am not a pro by any means, but I have watched a lot of tapes of the pro and I took this away. So when I first started, I was like, you know what? If I grab the lever out here, that's going to allow me, a small movement here. It's going to allow me more leverage, basically. I was like, oh, this is going to give me more leverage. I'm going to have more control. But what I found out was that that, for me, was not the case. I was having a lot of trouble with clutch engagement, feathering, because I was having to move the clutch so much. You can see here how much I have to move it to get that lever to move. Obviously, I'm going to have to compare it to something else. But that was how I initially started. I was like, oh, I'll be able to get finer adjustment by having my finger further out on the clutch and allowing me to, the more I move, the finer the adjustment would be versus further in. But after watching a lot of tape, all the higher ups grab it really close in here. And when I did that, that allowed me to actually have more fine adjustments. They I can have a much smaller movement here and see how much that moves to where I have to move my finger more out here to get that same adjustment. I have found for me that having it tucked up here really close to whatever you want to call this, the bend here, I can make tiny adjustments with my finger to get what I need versus out here. It's just for me, that made a huge difference. I was able to get the power down nice and easy and feather much easier with it further in. Secondly, something I found out this year is we all have a spot when we grab the bars and we panic where our finger naturally goes to. You're going to see there where it naturally goes to. What I was doing is I kept on moving the clutch bite back and forth, and I was like, okay, where's that clutch bite need to be? So I was constantly moving the clutch bite back and forth, and then I was trying to chase that. This year, what I decided to do is I decided to adjust the clutch to my panic position. Here's my kind of my panic position. I adjusted the clutch to where that it would let the bike go forward with no brakes on, but wouldn't stall when I had the rear brake on. And that these little adjusters here you can see on the clutch, I fine-tune those to where that my natural position now when I panic, it goes to a certain spot where the clutch drags enough that the bike will slowly move forward, but will not die if I have the brake on. So that's helped me out a lot. I'm still working on it. It's a fine-tune adjustment, but that would be a recommendation for you guys out there as well, is don't chase that clutch point wherever it is. Adjust the clutch point to your natural position, wherever that might be. That has helped me out a lot with like the slow technical stuff, being able to just have it dragging and right there ready to go versus searching for it. So that's made a big difference this year for me. And it'll continue. I was going to continue to evolve, but just something for you guys to think about. All right, now we're going to talk about body position. And this was something that I really struggled with, once again, coming from an enduro background. I will go over just some things how I used to ride and how just in the past month I've realized how I need to get my body position. And once again, you know, I'm no pro, I'm just a regular old person, but I have found this has helped me out quite a bit. So you're going to see here, when I first started, I was up over the bike, as you can see here. Let's get on it. So I should probably chalk the bike or something like that. So my head over the front number plate, and it's really hard to balance like this, and a lot of pressure on the bars. And what you would hear people say is they're like, okay, well, you need to bend your knees, and then they're also like straighten your back. So what I could do is like, so my knees are bent and my back is straight. There we go. Look at that. My knees are bent, my back is straight. But as you can see, I'm kind of struggling here. It's not a really good position. What I've noticed now is actually what you want to do is you want to focus on getting your knees in front of your toes. What that's going to do is going to do several things. It's going to bring your hips closer to your heels and the pegs, and it's going to cause your body to be up straight, less bend in the hips. So I can achieve that bent knees and a straight back, but still not have proper body position. But if you're going to notice, so you can't see on the other side here, but all of a sudden, all right, so now I've got my knees in front of my toes. All of a sudden my back is, I'm not as bent at the hips as much. My head is a little further up straight, my shoulders are up straight, I'm a little more centered. Now, this is not only going to be good for balance, but at the same time, what this does for you, it puts you in the position to react immediately. I can immediately jump, whereas if I am not in that position, if I'm more in the upright position here, I have to squat first before I jump. So there's a little bit of a delayed reaction when you need to make a move, like unload the bike. I'm already in, not only is this easier to balance, but I'm already in, and not only am I in a proper position because of where my hips and my back are at, but I'm in the position to immediately react versus having to squat down before I go to react. So you can see, here we go, my knees are kind of bent. You can't really see in these pants probably. My back is straight, but I'm not balanced very well. All of a sudden I bring those knees in front of those toes, my shoulders come back, and my hips come closer in, so they're not as far back, and I'm less bent at the waist. So that has made a huge difference. It's weird, no doubt about it, but focusing on getting those knees in front of the toes has helped out tremendously. And that's something I've just learned over the past month. It's going to, so it takes a lot of work to be in that position. But that's kind of the position you want your default position to be. You know, I was bad because I would always go to the stand-up position. You know, I would stand up when things went wrong. Like, oh, here we go, I'm up here. But when things go wrong, or just your normal position, you want to be more in the squat position. So I'm working on, this will be my default position. Always going into this squat is the normal position, no matter what I'm doing now. I can't hold that position all the time, so I'll go in, up and rest when I don't need to be perfect balance or do crazy moves. But when I need to execute a move or balance, I'm going to make sure that I get in the squat position. This is my panic position, I guess, and my normal riding position, I should say, as well. So that's something I'm working on. Something else, you know, once again, I'm working on these type of things. Coming from an enduro background, I was used to having my knees in. I don't know how well this is going to come across on the video, but I had my knees in. What I've learned is you want to really, they say ride loose. What they mean to say is bow-legged. You want to really ride bow-legged. So with those knees in front of the toe and bow-legged, it's a really awkward position to hold, coming from an enduro background. But that's the technique, I believe. And you can watch like tapes of the pros when they are pulling off big moves or what have you. This is how you want to have your body. You know, bow-legged, knees in front of the toes, hips closer, proud rider, shoulders back, not hunched over. So a straight back, head up, and yeah. So once again, I'm working on all these type of things, but it was really hard coming from the enduro background doing these type of things. So bow-legged, knees in front of your toes. So there you go. All right, and then second to last. I know you guys are probably tired of me already. Second to last thing I learned, first off, to get really good at front wheel hops, you need to get good at balance. You need to be good at balance. Without good balance, front wheel hops, for me, were really tough. Something that has helped out with my front wheel hops, you know, besides balance, well, the evolution of my balance from my stand-up position where I was to this new bow-legged knees in front of the toe position, it has really helped out my front wheel hops as well. Also, front wheel hops, you never push on the front end. There is a little bit of pull, but never a push. So you'll see people over the front bars pushing like this. You want to kind of get in that body position and pull. Takes a lot of practice. I have thousands and thousands of front wheel hops, and I still have a lot to work on. But when I first started doing it, I was definitely pushing on the bars and then pulling. You want to get away from that pushing. You can pull a little bit, but it's really body movement, working with the suspension, and it takes a lot. It takes a lot. So the last thing we'll talk about are rear wheel hops, what I've been working on a lot, and some findings I'll talk about. So this has been another discovery just recently, or evolution this year. When I was first starting my rear wheel hop journey, or endos, I would come in and I'd bring my body forward over the bars and push down on the bars like this. See how I'm pushing down on them to try and get that rear wheel up. And after some critical thinking, you know, I'd come in, I'd have to have a lot of speed, and I'd hit the brakes and push down like that, and it was just horrible, absolutely horrible. After some critical thinking and what have you, and watching, not really watching anybody, but just going through a lot of mistakes, all of a sudden I realized what we need to do is we need to have that front wheel is a pivot point where your axle is. The front axle is a pivot point. Now, how are we going to maximize the torque on that pivot point? This is our lever right here. The bar is our lever. To maximize that leverage against that pivot point down there, the closer you come to 90 degrees, the force, the more that's going to pivot. So I'm basically in line with the forks right now. There's no force to pivot over there. The more I come down, all of a sudden that rear end comes up. So the force that you want to apply to bring the rear end up, the closer it is, or the further down it is, the easier that back end is going to come up. So that was something I had to learn, is instead of getting up over the bars here, if I'm in my squatted proper body position with my elbows down, I hit that front brake and push the bars this way, that back end's going to come up. There's another thing. I'm going to have to switch camera to show you guys this, that I've just recently learned, and it has helped me out a lot. So I'm going to switch the camera and I'll show you guys. Okay, now We talked about how you have to apply the force. The lower you bring your arms, the more forward you push on the bars, the easier it's going to bring it up. I was having good luck getting the rear end up, but I was having trouble throwing it from side to side, and a lot of trouble. I was just really throwing my body and pulling on the bike and everything like that, and I wasn't able to see this through tape or anything like that. Well, a little bit of tape, but what I discovered is that twist. So if your bars are turned, I'm going to show you here. I'm going to turn my bars. If you twist the bars, meaning that you push down on this one and pull up on the inner one, watch what happens. I mean, it throws it over. Same thing over here. It'll throw it over. I don't have to do anything. The bike, just in that twisting motion, the bike will, the geometry, it's actually the geometry of the bike. When it is turned this way, or anyway, and when the head tube is not in line with the front wheel, all you have to do is, you have your front brake locked, and you twist the bars. Over it comes. I'm not like doing anything with my body to get the rear end of the bike to come over. It's all the torque on the head tube. So what I was doing is I was working on my static rear wheel hops, and I get my position, and then what I do is I just give the bars a little torque. And rather than me trying to bring the bike over with my body, I just have to bring my body over with the bike, because the bike comes over twisting the bars. Now this works when the bars are twisted. What about when they're straight? And this is something I'm working on. And I just kind of realized this. When your bars are straight and you want to throw them, what you need to do is lean the bike over. Opposite direction you want to throw the rear end, you're going to need some movement. When you're static, you can just have the bars twisted and throw it. When you're moving, you can come in and turn it at the last minute and then do the same twisting motion. Or what you can do is you can lean the bike over, hit the brakes, and as you bring it back, you see there, right there, it came over all on its own. And so it's just leaned over a bit. I'm not doing anything with my body. It's just the fact that that head tube is going from one position and being twisted, and it will bring the bike along with it. So that has helped me out tremendously with my rear wheel hops. Obviously, I've got a lot of work to do, but at least I'm on the right path now. I'm not wasting my time with, I was putting pressure on the bars, kind of like, okay, I've got, when they're twisted, I'm going to push on both bars. And I just was having no luck whatsoever. It wasn't until I realized I just needed to twist the bars. Pull up and push down, twisting action, that things started to work for me. And then, just recently I was like, okay, that's all great when I'm static, but what about when I'm moving forward and the bars are straight? And that's why I learned right before you go to get the rear brake, hit the rear brake and do your jump, what you want to do is you want to lean the bike away, hit the brake, and it'll come over. And I lied. There is one more thing that we're going to talk about. I'm going to have to move the camera one last time. So bear with me. All right. Last thing, I think. I was going to make a script and everything like that, but I decided I'd just wing it. So something else I was doing early on in my career, when you're coming up to like an up or an obstacle, you're like, oh, you want to unload the bike, And what I was doing is first off, you know, obviously I was in the wrong body position. But what I do is I'd stab the pegs. See that? That's stabbing the pegs. And that's not right. You don't want to stab the pegs. What you want to do is you want to jump off the pegs, kind of. You want to kind of jump off the pegs. And if you're in the right position, all you have to do is jump. You don't have to squat down to jump. So here I'm going to show you the difference between it not being in the right position. So I'm not in the right position. I go down and then up. I had to go down and then come back up. That down takes time. Let's do it if I'm in the right position. I'm already knees in front of the toes in my position. And then back into position. So there's a difference between stabbing the pegs and then jumping. And what I was doing is I was stabbing. What you want to do is squat down and then jump off the pegs to unload the bike. I'm sure stabbing the pegs might be useful somewhere, but that's beyond my skill set right now. One of the people higher skill level can chime in on that. But yeah, I'm still learning a lot, but I thought that if I could pass on a few learnings that's taken me a long time to understand to beginners, that they wouldn't have to struggle as much wasting their time trying to figure things out. I hope this helps, and please let me know in the comments.